everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Selena and in this week's video we are going to understand and learn how to read documentation and use it to write better code. So let's get started. So what is a documentation? In layman terms, it is like a manual or an instruction set. For example, you bought a new smartphone and now you're looking for the manual or instruction set that is kept in the box. And what does it give you? It gives you a list of steps. It tells you what thing works for what. For example, it tells you how to start the phone, how to set it up, what are the different buttons available and what are they used for. Similarly, in the case of programming languages, this manual is called a programming documentation. It tells you how a language works, what are the different functions that are available, what kind of inputs can you give and what sort of outputs can you expect. It sometimes also comes with examples so you can try the code by yourself if you're a beginner. So that's what a documentation is. Nowadays, most of us just take codes online and then clone them in our repository, or else we just copy the code and run it on our system. And many times we come across errors which we are not able to resolve because we cannot understand the functions and what kind of inputs do they take and what sort of outputs do they give. And because of that, our code is not able to run properly. In this case, you can use the documentation, which explains the entire function properly, and then you can rewrite the code and it will run perfectly. Another case where documentation can be really helpful is when suppose you're a beginner at something and you're making a really big project using this language that you've never even heard of. The only thing that you can do in case there is no code available online or no useful YouTube videos is that you can refer to the documentation. You can go through the list of functions that are available, note down the ones that you will be needing according to your system design, and eventually implement the code. Now that we have understood what documentation is and where it can be used, let us directly jump into how to use it. For the sake of this video, I have chosen 3 documentations. First one is Python, next is TensorFlow, and the third one is React.js. So let's get started with Python. So this is the official page for Python documentation. In the navbar, you can see that there are multiple options for the languages that you can choose to look at the documentation. We have 10 different options here. After this, you can see a bunch of numbers. These are actually the versions of Python. So if you select any one of them, you'll get the documentation of that version of Python. On the left hand side, you can see the docs by version section. It gives you the documentation for that particular version of Python. As it so happens, sometimes we write code which is in an older version, and so you can go to that particular version and see the documentation for it. They might have made some changes in the new functions or something like that. The other important sections in this documentation are that of documentation, as it is listed here, and that of indices, glossary, and search. Over here, you have a general index, which gives you all the functions, classes, and terms. You can search by the letter. Suppose I click on E, I'll get the glossary of everything that there is in Python that starts with the letter E. Over here, suppose I click on this. Look at it. You have all of the functions, all of them listed for E. Now I can just go back and come back over here. The search page once again gives you the option to search by the function. Suppose you already know what you're looking for, you can just quickly go over here and type whatever you want and you will get it quickly. Next we have the documentation section. It has the what's new in Python 3.12. Now what this means is that there can be previous versions as well, but when you come to the documentation site, it will only show you the latest one to begin with. And then you can go to the other ones from the left hand side. The what's new in Python feature gives you the latest features that have been added to the language. For example, over here we have type parameter syntax. I won't go much into the detail, but I think you get an idea. Suppose you are a complete beginner in Python, then you can go to the tutorial section, a tour of Python syntax and features. Instead of learning from videos, you can simply learn from the documentation. This glossary is truly worth going through. It has covered everything. You can see numbers, texts, lists. Then there are control flow statements like if statement, for statement, pass, All of these are really important key features of Python. Suppose I go into one of them, for statements. You can learn everything about Python just from the documentation. They also give you examples on how they're supposed to be used, what kind of input you're supposed to give, and what sort of output will you get. You see, there is also the range function over here. This documentation also has a separate section to help you install the Python modules so that you can use them and work with them on your system. As you can see over here, the most important term that is used in Python is pip. And they have clearly talked about it in over 2-3 paragraphs so that it can help you understand it better and make best use of it. Over here, as you can see, Python -m pip install some package. This is just an example of how you can install other packages in Python. And they have given you with the example so you can simply copy the code and paste it in your command line by just changing the some package term. While installing some packages or libraries, you might come across some issues. Over here in the documentation, they have clearly mentioned how to resolve these issues. They've also given some potential fixes for the same. This one here is for pip specifically, but for other libraries and modules, you can also find them. Let's say you are someone who is installing Python on their PC for the first time, then you can go here to Python Setup and Usage. It will teach you how to install, configure, and use Python. As you can see, they have listed everything: command line and environment, the kind of interface you need, the generic options, miscellaneous options, then using Python on Unix platforms, getting and installing the latest version of Python, configuring Python, building requirements, all of it is mentioned over here. There are other configuration options as well if you are interested in them. A Python build system, everything that you need to build a Python program from scratch and take it to its completion, it has been mentioned over here. So do make good usage of this documentation in case you're building a Python program. Next, we come to the documentation of TensorFlow, which is an open source library used for machine learning and deep learning tasks. As you can see, this is the API documentation. Over here, they have listed 4 languages: Python, JavaScript, C++, and Java. Now, this means that these languages are used the most, and the other languages in which you can use TensorFlow are the following. For this video's sake, we will go with Python. As you can see, all of the functions and the modules that are present in TensorFlow are listed out over here. And this is a huge list. You can find everything, all types of functions that you will ever need to create a machine learning or deep learning model. I'll just search for one over here in the search bar. So I've found mine: tf.keras.ops.binary cross entropy. Over here, I'm getting the complete detail of the function. It computes the binary cross entropy loss between target and output tensor. This is a brief description about it that they have given in the beginning. Now, as we scroll down, we get the syntax of it. That is, how is it supposed to be used? We first list the function and then we list the parameters in parentheses. You can even copy the code if you want, simply from here and paste it wherever you are using it in your system. After which they have given a detailed description for the function. Args. These are the arguments that the function takes. So in our case, it takes a target, an output, and a from logits. This one here is listed out as optional, so you don't necessarily need to fill this in. What does it return? It returns an integer tensor. Similarly, for other functions also, there will be a list of arguments and a list of what it returns. Over here, to get to know the function better, they have also provided you with an example code. They have given a target, an output, and have used the binary cross entropy function that returns a value once given the target and output as the inputs. This right here is the output. Now, the last website that we are going to analyze for the documentation is that of React.js. It is an open source library for front end development. And for those of you who have worked with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you might know that it is kind of advanced as compared to those three languages. But the documentation for it makes it so easy for you to understand, learn, and implement React that any beginner can start from here. It all starts with adding React to a website, and they have clearly mentioned it over here how you can do it. Add React in one. Add React in just under 1 minute. Step 1 is adding a DOM container to the HTML, followed by adding the script tags and creating a React component. All of these have been mentioned so clearly and so easily. If you go to the main concepts, which has been listed on the right hand side of the website, you will eventually realize that the documentation is literally teaching you React.js. Using this entire documentation and making a project by yourself using it, you will be able to successfully understand, implement, and learn React. So go on ahead and do that. Under the hooks tab, I have come down to using the effect hook. And as I can see over here, they have mentioned the entire function component. They have written the entire code for it. All I need to do is copy this and paste it in my PC and make all the necessary changes, and I will be able to run this. Look, it's that easy. That was all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it and got to learn something new this week. And if you have any future suggestions for the videos, you can drop them down in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till then, thank you for watching and see you again in the next video.